I saw an orange mesh kind of crisscrossing diamonds. And there was a buildup in the room of other phosphenes. Very particularly to the west, there was a round purple one. There appeared between me and the mirror a light green mist, and it had a strong presence. And eventually, I felt like there was other presences watching me and it. And at the end, I had a shudder of euphoria, relieving pain and stiffness. And I saw a shelf of blue light. And this euphoric feeling was different because it kind of gave me a twisting sort of feeling. It made me feel almost like I moved beyond my body. Today's readings concluded the second book, as it's called, of John Dee and the Empire of Angels, the Angelic Conversations. Things got to be more difficult for John Dee because people had suspicions about him, and accusations sort of got worse. And the interesting, unique material that we call Enochian, that kind of came to an end. Eventually, before he died, there was a period of time where he wasn't in contact with Edward Kelly or any of the rest of them. He did continue with the occult, as you could say. And one wonders, for example, when it came to the wife swapping incident, did he cross out the account because he was embarrassed that he, couldn't bring himself to commit adultery? And the entities kind of knew beforehand, right? They kind of knew. They asked them about it. And they asked in a way that kind of unraveled things. There was the question, the Jesuits and others, it's like, no, I'm a totally good Christian and all that other stuff. And basically, laws were put forward about conjuring and all that, and they're like, oh, you can't use a wicked spirit, and we decide what's a wicked spirit. Monotheism is so much easier. You don't have to worry about, well, is it the right or the wrong, you're just, but anyways. The 88 thing, the year 88 thing, well, the August 8th, 1588 was the year when the Spanish Armada was defeated, and so-called Protestant versus Catholic wasn't as much of a threat for the Protestants at that point. And so the Protestants started to become dominant, and the English Empire, made its way forth. Was that the 88 year we're talking about? I think one of those years, but there's stuff about that makes it sound like more like something else if it, if it's true prophecy. And I think one of the years ends in 88 when it's predicted that a civilization-ending meteor is going to hit. It's quite a ways away, right? So, but I think one of the years ends in 88, but there's also meanings associated with the 88, and it seems apparent to me that the shadows and the smoke and the fire and stuff like this is sort of a jinn equivalent of the sort of things that the Bible says that happen in the Bible, and to the prophets. But it seems very apparent that we're dealing with jinn here, and it's very apparent also that the Enochian material are other aspects of their visions that seem pretty interesting. You don't have to be Catholic or Protestant or something in between of Christian persuasion or any of that stuff in order for those visions to kind of be useful to you in reference. And definitely the Catholic Church did not question, the people that we have evidence from, I guess, didn't question, did they have these experiences? No, they thought they really had these experiences. And Edward Kelly was probably right that, the circles and all that stuff, maybe it's a facility for that, but we can interact with these things outside of these spaces. And he was right in that respect. And I honestly don't think drawing circles and stuff like that actually protects you. Perhaps making that offering, right, to be obedient unto the forms. John Dee died before the King James Version of the Bible could have come about. And one of the things King James did is, he didn't like this blaming things on this star and all that sort of stuff. And I guess the psyche of the people attached to those particular meetings could actually have some effect, not only on their behavior, but, the energy around them and all that. But, I understand why it was an age when some things, became more prominent about the persecution. And the Bible hints at some of these arts, but I think it's more in different ways. It's like just because people talk to angels in some text doesn't mean they're, calling up the angel. So I find you can, I've never worshipped angels as far as I know. Certainly not this century. And I don't remember when I was a little kid or anything else that I ever thought it would have been an appropriate thing or a suitable thing. That these things are supposed to be able to respond to us, right? John Dee certainly did inspire art very close to his existence in both ways that he was acceptable, but probably more in ways that he was not acceptable. Just like the variety of things being taught and expressed in their experience.